Hey everybody, this is Leila, Health Education Manager here at AI Arthritis, and I am here reporting back still with EULAR 2025 content for our Go With Us program. And as you can see, my location has changed. I am now back home here in the San Francisco area, and I wanted to report back on one of the sessions that I missed when we were at the actual conference, and it's a very important one. So it's the what is new in systemic lupus erythematosus, or SLE, and what is new in lupus nephritis care. So lupus has been a really hot topic over the past few years at these conferences because a lot is improving and changing in the treatment of lupus. And so lupus nephritis is a very serious complication of SLE, or systemic lupus, and it happens to up to 60% of lupus patients. And so understanding that and giving enough education and warning once patients get diagnosed is really important. A lot of people will even initially get diagnosed with lupus by finding out that they have kidney problems. And so just making sure that patients are aware that within 5 years, there's a 60% likelihood that lupus will escalate to lupus nephritis, and knowing the signs so that it can be intervened as soon as possible and prevent as much damage from happening as possible. And so that is why it's so important to keep talking about lupus nephritis. A lot of people really don't find out until a significant damage has happened to their kidney already. When I found out I had lupus nephritis, I was already class 4, class 5 lupus nephritis. Luckily, the function of my kidneys did not get affected, but I did have a lot of injury that took 2 years to repair afterwards. And it didn't really repair. It really just calmed down the inflammation so that I didn't have as much protein in my urine. But there is a huge gap in communication still with rheumatologists, and emphasizing the importance of doing as much as you can to prevent lupus nephritis from happening by keeping inflammation down, staying with your treatment plan, and keeping up with your labs, and making sure that you're constantly getting your urine checked to make sure that there's no protein leaking. So just making sure that education is at its best when it comes to letting lupus patients know about lupus nephritis. It's been said through a lot of different patients that patients want their doctors to explain what lupus nephritis is, clarify what these tests mean, like creatinine, which is the kidney function, or protein in urine, which says that there's an injury with the kidney, so that protein is actually slipping through the urine. And what patients would want to know how kidney involvement can affect their lupus over time. And there's a lot of talks about biopsy and when to biopsy and how important biopsy is as well. And so just making sure that patients are well aware of that. Patients have also said that making visual tools may be really helpful, because words like creatinine or EGFR can be confusing when it comes to testing and knowing what they mean. Patients would like to see more diagrams, videos, and simple handouts to help them learn about kidney disease and kidney health in a more accessible way. And the kidneys are a very unique and very complex organ, and they do a lot of different functions, and there's a lot of different parts of the kidney that make the kidney run, and so it can be very confusing for patients to fully understand what's going on. And shared decision making is really important when it comes to lupus nephritis. The medications can be really intense, or a lot of medications, and having a patient's preference is really important when taking into consideration the treatment plan, because you want to make sure that the patient is going to be able to be as compliant as possible with their treatment plan to have the best outcome. And so making sure that shared decision making is constantly happening is still very, very important, and patients can feel very dismissed if their concerns are not taken into consideration. And patients have expressed that they want to understand medication options fully, what the potential side effects are, and how different paths might affect their quality of life. So if someone may prefer to take 6 pills a day rather than getting an infusion once a month, or, the different preferences that there are to be able to have the best treatment plan as possible. Again, there's also been said that mental and emotional needs are being overlooked when it comes to discussing with patients what their needs are with treating their lupus. Lupus nephritis can have a really huge emotional and mental toll on patients, and this is rarely discussed at appointments. We hear all the time that depression and anxiety are big symptoms of lupus, not just a comorbidity, but an actual symptom of having lupus. And so for that not to be addressed at rheumatology appointments is really showing that we're not emphasizing holistic care and a holistic outlook on quality of life when it comes to patients. It's very medical, numbers, lab results, all of these different things, when the emotions and the mental health part of everything can actually be the most detrimental. And so making sure patients have guidance and have help when it comes to the emotional and mental health side is really important. Asking patients if they have a therapist, if they have people to talk to, if they have a support group that they can go to talk to about their issues, can be very helpful as a simple step to make sure that we are talking to patients holistically. And patients have expressed that they want providers to ask more about just their labs. They want to talk about stress, anxiety, fears, and coping, because again, those are the things that we live with on a day-to-day basis. We're not constantly thinking about our lab results or any of those things. It's the day-to-day life that really takes a toll on a lupus patient. And a few key things that the speaker wanted healthcare providers to hear was make sure to explain kidney risks early and clearly, not just after they're already a problem. Use patient-friendly language and tools to walk through test results. Invite patients into the decision-making process, and always consider how emotional and physical health are connected. That's a really big one. Once I felt like I was able to heal a lot of my mental health, I feel like my physical health got a lot better as well. And so just thinking of patients as a holistic view really makes a big difference. For patients, the biggest thing is you can ask your provider as well about these things. You can say, I saw this video from AI Arthritis talking about how lupus nephritis is a really big complication that can happen in lupus. Like, how at risk am I for developing lupus nephritis, and what can I do to prevent it? You can ask questions as much as possible. What do these lab results mean? Is there anything that you can tell me about the trend in my lab results? And, also ask, is there a handout or a visual that can help me understand this better? A lot of doctors may be connected with resources from patient organizations, but a lot may also not be connected with those resources. So finding patient organizations can be very helpful, not only for support, but for education on a lot of different topics that the doctors may not be able to discuss or have time to discuss during your appointment. And again, don't be afraid to speak up and talk and ask any questions if you feel confused or unheard. If you can't talk to the doctor, maybe try talking to the nurse, and they can also bring up your concerns to the doctor. And also even having a friend or a partner or a family member with you at your appointments can be very helpful and help you to feel empowered and taken care for as well. Just having someone on your side, and also preparing before your appointments, having your questions written down, having your lab results questions or anything that you may want to discuss. I get stage fright sometimes when I'm at the doctor and forget what I want to talk about. So having a list of all of the questions that I want to ask really helps as well. And lupus nephritis, it can be something very scary for patients when you first hear about it. And it was very scary and a very tough time for me when I first went through it as well. But like anything when it comes to lupus, it's unpredictable, but there are things that you can do to help treat it and help get the inflammation down. And these things happen, unfortunately, but we're in a really great place when it comes to modern medicine, that there's lots of options out there to be able to help us when there wasn't a lot of medications just about 10 years ago. So we are very lucky to be in the time of these medications being able to help us, as well as hopefully being able to prevent more people from being on dialysis and having full kidney failure because of lupus nephritis. And hopefully with education, awareness, and shared decision making and communication with doctors, we can prevent as many people from escalating from lupus to lupus nephritis just by having those talks and just by being able to let patients know about the risk early on. And yeah, that's it. There may be more continuations of more sessions coming on, more debriefs from our fellow Go With Us attendees. And thank you again for joining us for EULAR 2025. I hope to see you all with us in our elevated experience or in our emails in October for ACR. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.